Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of El Koki Otaku. Tonight our special guest with so many lovely characters such as Akane Akitsu in Shangri-La Frontier, Lafanpan in Handyman, Saitou in Another World, Kyoko Kawakami in Bartender Glass of God, Mirai Kuriyama in Beyond the Boundary Daybreak, Emily Tobihoshi. Guys, sorry, we're going to fix it soon. In the Red Ranger become an adventure in Another World, and Chiori Asagiri in Tamoko Market, and Tina in Overlord. Tonight we welcome Krystal LaPorte.
Hello.
Did I say right your name?
No, but that's okay. Everyone says it. It's just LaPorte.
We spent like 20 minutes just chatting, and I forgot to ask how to properly pronounce your last name, LaPorte. And Krystal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So Krystal, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It is not a problem. Thank you for having me.
I'm so sorry for your last name. I thought like let me use Spanish.
If you think LaPorte is bad, you should see how it gets mangled on a Starbucks cup. I've gotten like Krystal LaPorte, and it's good.
I mean, let's be honest. Starbucks, something I really enjoy about Starbucks is how they mess your name. Which when I order with the app, I hate it because now they have my name.
It is part of the adventure. Like, the worse you get it, the happier I am with my cup of coffee.
And talking about adventure, let's kick it off with one of your characters that really kicked everybody's surprise on this last season. Talking about Akane Akitsu in Shangri-La Frontier. Many people already know Shangri-La Frontier, but if you have to describe this character or this series to somebody who haven't seen yet, how would you describe it?
It is. I love it so much. It's kind of a, I wouldn't say a reverse isekai because it's still a regular person going into a world. But it is a perfect it's a perfect show for lovers of games. If you loved Sword Art Online, I think you would absolutely love Shangri-La Frontier, or Shangri-La Frontier. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I always read that word as Shangri-La. But what it is, it's about a guy who is obsessed with trash video games, like the ones you used to be able to buy for $0.25 and play on the NES and be like, this game is broken. And he was a connoisseur of the most frustratingly bad video games. And then he finds one that is actually really good, and it's about his character in that video game and the various other people that he meets in that video game. And it's mostly about them in the game, but sometimes it has like small scenes about them in real life and how it affects them. It is funny as heck, and from what I can hear, the dub is absolutely phenomenal. Eric Vale makes me laugh out loud almost every time I record.
And I feel like something I really love about this series that I feel like I identify with the main character. I don't play the big hits game. I like to play those underrated games because the story of them is so great. Mm-hmm. And this season was big rated on the fan acceptance. Everybody, I think every episode didn't miss the target. And the introduction of your character, it really gave a more hype moment. Talking about Akane. How do you describe Akane?
I kind of describe her as the Rose Nyland from the Golden Girls of the group. She's just she's always happy. She always has her, this one time in St. Olaf, this is how we do things. And she's just happy to be involved with things. She is very competent. She's an amazing fighter. So it's wonderful to be a lot of the sort of comic relief without being a joke, and so she is competent. She has her moments of being absolutely necessary to the team, but she's also a little bit of comedic relief because she's just so happy to be there and she's so happy to see the giant monster and fight it. I love it so much because it's kind of the same reason I love the show, is that because it has that sort of niche part of liking trash video games, it reminds me sort of growing up. When you were in middle school and high school, the friends that you kept for life were not the ones who you bonded like always over something everyone likes. It's when you meet that person that has seen this show that nobody else has seen but you two, and you're like, ah! And so I think she goes into every interaction with that genuine excitement to meet somebody new in this world that they're in. And it's a wonderful way to live, and it's a wonderful way to be able to play a character, because it reminds you there's really nothing better you can do for someone than to be genuinely happy that they were put in front of you that day. And she kind of lives and breathes that mentality, and I love that.
And by the way, guys, there will be spoilers. There will be spoilers. This series was not released yesterday, so yeah, there will be spoilers all tonight. So I was in shock with. I was not expecting like another character. Those, because we have side character, but another strong side character, I was not expecting it. And suddenly Akane showed up very enthusiastic, very well designed, and I think it gave a new tone to the moment. Something really it killed me from her, that she had the same mistake. She didn't have the same mistake. It was a mistake that she has her character. She was hiding her face just because she used her real face when she got excited.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone. And you know, the video game in Shangri-La Frontier is obviously much more advanced than the ones we have today. But if you tell me that you did not make a video game character, like if you did not spend hours trying to get the face and the nose thing right and the face like length and stuff to look exactly like you in a video game, you are lying, because we all do that. So I think the concept of doing that and then getting too far with that account so that everyone knows what you look like in like this virtual reality world is such a human struggle.
Yeah, but also we need to do another gamer confession. That's phase 1. Phase 2, later on, we guys, male player, we end up doing our avatar Gare. So we all have a Gary avatar, and many times when I'm streaming, they're like, "Why you're the Gare?" And I'm like, "Because that's not your business, bro. Get over it."
Because she's fabulous. Thank you very much.
Exactly. She looks awesome, sexy. She's killing everybody right now. So yeah, you don't like it? I don't have the ability to change my voice, but I will do it. But I can't. But before we move on, how about your experience of dubbing Akane as a ninja character? Because she's kind of ninja.
She is. I was looking. I think I have played a ninja for like one line before, maybe ever, but I don't recall playing a ninja. I've played samurais. I've played everything. This is my first time playing a ninja in anime, so I am very excited about that. It's just, I love her powers. I love her ability to. I've seen the visualization before of the log, but I've not actually researched that before, because I get into rabbit holes where once I start researching, my life becomes kind of about that for a week. And right now, just with work, it's been. But I do want to understand that. I love the fire powers. So it is so cool. And the hand signs, I can live out my Naruto dreams now. It is so neat getting to play a ninja, and then having her end up being my character was I was probably more surprised than anyone watching it, because when I got called in like a year ago for it was like a scrappy little guy, and I'm like, oh cool, I don't get to play guys that much, all right. I did that twice, and then I just didn't then I was done with Shangri-La Frontier. So I thought a year later, I was like, pourquoi? And she was back, and she was back. She was new, but she was not new, and that's never happened before to me. So that was very, very cool.
So what was your reaction on that episode when she finally joined the party? We Sakura? Isotome.
Sanraku, right?
Sanraku, thank you.
Yeah. It was more, at that point, after the episode, like, the episode where she introduces herself, I was like, oh, this is a little cliffhangery. I might get to come back next week. And I did, and then I came back the next week, and now she's kind of with the party. I don't know if she's going to be one of the, like, if she's going to have, like, a character arc and then be like, bye-bye, I found confidence in myself as a player, and I'm going to go off. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I've just been extremely, like, very pleased and very grateful and always happy to be brought back, and I really do kind of hope she joins the main party for a long amount of time. Right now we're on a pirate ship and we're fighting, and I couldn't be happier with that, because we aren't fighting like cute little Disney mermaids. Like, it is it's like HP Lovecraft level monsters, and the plot right now, it hits all the right boxes for me. So I've just been happy. I've been kind of like her. I'm just happy to be a part of things.
No, definitely, and she will be back. Because at least with the wrap up of season 2, there was so many questions. Why she have she's the second person to make it to Rabbit World, and with that defeat of the Night Wolf, that we thought would be like finally end of the Night Wolf. I was like, nope, guys, this is just the intro. So damn, it was a very end of the season that with the big hypes. But moving on, the different kind of hype. I mean, the hype is different here. It stays different. Talking about your character Kyoko Kawakami in Bartender Glass of God.
That one, I love mixing drinks. I love inventing drinks. I like experimenting and making stuff for friends. For Christmas, I'll do like bacon washed whiskey, where you get like some good like smoked Benton's bacon, and you render out the fat and you mix it with the whiskey, and it creates a plug, and you let that sit long enough so that the whiskey it sort of infuses with this smoked bacon taste, and then you can make like little tiny bottles for Christmas for people. I've tried it with like gin and blue cheese. I like smoking cocktails. I live for that kind of stuff. So I was just excited when I found out they were remaking Bartender, because the first Bartender was just cozy. It was lovely, and then actually getting to be a part of it was phenomenal. I love that character's journey so much, because very often anime is about a character who is put in an ordinary world with extraordinary innate talent. Even when they struggle, they're still kind of like the chosen one. They just need to work harder, but she was clueless. She struggled, and she had very, very human flaws where she just wasn't understanding or giving the right appreciation to what's important. She wasn't practicing enough. She actually needed like practice shaking. She needed to practice her posture and her speaking. And it was lovely being a character who had very relatable weaknesses and went through the rigorous work that it took to be able to get those into a position where she was then offered a job that she loved or was able to enter contests. So it was nice going through a very human journey in skill building.
Which I'm glad you mentioned that, because Kyoko is one of those characters that we many were able to relate with, because in a world where perfection is the key at that level of bartending, she is struggling with it. And I think many scenes we see her expressing that frustration. So which will be the moment that really hit you, that dips deep on dubbing Kyoko?
I think, to be honest, I think it's the third or fourth episode. It's when she first really starts talking about her struggles. And I am blanking. His name, is it Ryuji? What is the bartender's name? It's Ryu something.
Ryo Sasakura.
Ah, okay, Ryo. So it's when she first talks to him, and she's like, "I don't get it. I'm doing this over and over and over again, and I'm not getting the results that I want, and I'm just very frustrating. It's just very frustrating, and I feel hopeless." And he was like, "Well, you've really got two problems. One, if you're doing the same thing over and over again and you're not liking the results you get, you need to stop doing the thing over and over again and figure out what you need to be doing differently. And if you're not willing to figure that out and put in the effort to stop doing things the way that they don't work, maybe just quit. Maybe don't do it." And that anger that she felt, that to me is one of the most human feelings ever, because very often when we're saying, "I don't understand why this isn't working," we're not asking for help. We're just venting because we're frustrated that our efforts aren't working. And so that anger, I'm like, ooh, that feels too close to home. She just wanted to vent and be told you're doing okay and you're valid. But it's also important. It's an important lesson, though. You know, you can't, I think that the world gives us a lot of the tough love we need. So when we're talking to a friend, we don't need to be told, "Oh, you're lazy and you'll never amount to anything." But sometimes we do need our friends to hold us accountable and say, "Look, you're doing it over and over again and it isn't working. So let's figure out a different path." So I think the lesson in that scene was very important, but I also really like that the creators thought that instead of her going, "Yes, you're right, Grandmaster, I will work harder and someday I will be the best bartender of all," she was just like, "Hold up, I didn't come here to be attacked." That doesn't happen as much either. So that scene gave credence to both sides of the conflict, and I like that.
I did this question to Tom Aglio, and I need to ask you too, because there's Bartender Glass of Ghosts has so many deep and beautiful story that it is a masterpiece. So from those moments or story, which one is one of those that hit you hard or stay with you?
You know, I would say the last episode really does. I believe it was the last episode where it talks about the reasons for staying here on Earth, being alive. And that will always hit me because a lot of people, like when newer actors like ask me, "Do you have any advice on how I can get more roles or how can I get more convention invites?" Which I don't know why they ask me. I don't get many convention invites. But when they ask, like, how do I get to a point in my career where I'm going to be satisfied? The only answer I can really give them is just stay. Just hold on. Like, breathe in and out for 24 hours straight. Go to bed, eat breakfast, and stay. Because, you know, everyone has different career goals. Everyone has a different idea of what is going to make them feel like they've arrived or they've been successful or that they're happy. And we now live in this cool world where we have boxes at our fingertips where we can look up all the advice we need and all the education we need to go forward in our chosen careers or in our chosen goals. But at the end of the day, success and happiness also involves the tenacity to just stay and not give up, to just stay and keep waiting for something good. Because, I mean, quite frankly, I'm there's a lot more I would love to do in voice acting. I would love to get more roles. I'd love to get more big roles. I'd love to go to conventions every weekend for a month, at least once in my life. But I am not the greatest actor in the world. There are people who work just as hard as me, who deserve good things just as much as me. And the only difference between me and someone who has never had a role in anime in their life might be luck. So the only reason I'm here today is because I held on and I didn't give up. And I just kept putting myself out there, but also had the patience to wait and hope for good things. And that could be the person that hasn't done it yet. That might be all they need to do. They might have all the skills in the world, but they just need that patience and that drive to sit and wait. So I think whenever there's an episode of, hey, stay alive, it gets better, that always hits me the hardest, because I can't think, especially today, I can't think of a better message than it is hard work to stay. So it doesn't feel like it's hard work because you're just staying alive. But if you can do that, it's that hard work will be paid off, and good things will come. You just don't know when. So just dig down and stay. So I think having that message in an anime and having the absolute honor to be a part of a show that promotes that message, especially without any like additions of like magic or adventure or dragons. It's just a show about regular people doing a regular job and impacting regular lives. So I hope that it makes it more palatable or relatable for everyday people who might be thinking, I don't know what I'm staying for. I don't know what I'm waiting for. The lesson is nobody knows what we're waiting for, but it's going to be good if you do.
Right. And again, this series is one of those you must watch. The moments that really I love, stay with me, are the first one that is when he mentioned that he met with his friend that he said that alcohol is medicine and poison. It's the side of a two side of a blade. And the second one that still cannot get over it is the flame of those who are left behind. When he light up the glass, his master light up the glass for those who are no longer with us. I cried. It was too deep.
That I forgot about that one. That one is hard because my partner Chris was also a voice actor. And so one of the things that at first it was very hard to do voice acting. I didn't do conventions for years, but I forced myself to get in it. I stayed. I kept doing it, and I realized that when I am in the booth now, that is when I do feel closest to him, because he was also a director. I hear, like, if I'll do something, I'll hear him be like, that sounded a little mealy. And I'm like, oh, can I do that one more time, please? So it's amazing how much impact the words of the people that we love, even if they're not here anymore, still have on us. And kind of like the way his master impacts his bartending, it really is a flame. It is a beacon that draws you back to your shared hobbies, back to what you did together, or back to what they cared about. And it's amazing. Just kind of, sometimes you can really see, like, even if they're not here, their influence still is, or their preferences still matter.
The legacy that they left behind. Oh, so great. Moving on to another character, very loved by the community. I have to confess that I cannot be behind watching this series. Talking about Mirai Kuriyama in Beyond the Boundary, Daybreak.
Ironically, Daybreak, I think, is the movie that I didn't do. But the show is Beyond the Boundary, or Kyokai no Kanata. Did you say you hadn't seen it?
No, I have not aware of.
You might like it. It's very fun. It's kind of, God, I don't know how to describe it. It's a sort of grim noir version of the magical girl concept. Her job is to fight demons. That's just what she does. I don't know why, but she does it. It's a living, and she gets sent to annihilate this demon, but the demon is kind of like a regular dude who just is half demon. It's just, so he's just a regular high schooler, so she has to pose as a high school student at his school to try to kill him. And obviously they start talking and they become friends, but she's still like, I'm still gonna kill you eventually, but I need money for lunch today. Can I borrow $1? So that's what happens. And her power is the ability to manipulate her own blood. So if you see pictures of her with like a giant red sword, she'll like hold out her hand and it's like, woof, blood sword. And I mean, I had a blood sword. How can I complain? But that is, it is a role that I hold very near and dear because it deals with the concept of exclusion so well. It is because of, I think they were called something, it's been 10 years, mate. Yeah, it's been about 10 years now. I think it's like Sacred World Warriors or something, Secret World Warrior, something warrior. And that ability to manipulate their blood, it made them a target. And they were all killed out just for being what they were. And I think that in today's society, in my personal life, the concept of being punished for something you didn't ask to be, for something you didn't choose, for something that doesn't hurt anyone is a very important lesson, so that whenever we're in a show that can kind of showcase the folly of targeting people for just doing something as inane as existing or loving someone or just being slightly different, I'm always very happy to be a part of that, because I think exclusion is really a really insidious thing in our society that hurts so many people.
Definitely. We need before we go into the isekai world, we need to talk about Crystal. How did you made it to this world? Because you have so many careers at the same time.
I do. So originally I went to school. I was going to go to college for opera. That was the goal. Like, I loved musical theater. I was a big theater kid. I went to theater camp every summer and I was going to do opera. But I didn't pay for my own college, so I didn't get all the choices. And theater was not seen as a stable career. So that changed, and I ended up majoring in political science, psychology, and minoring in philosophy, and I was going to go to law school. Then I want to say about a year after I met Chris, it wasn't voice acting. I didn't think I would. I still, even though I met him as a voice actor, knowing what that is, it still didn't click in my head that this is a viable job. Like, people do this. Like, the cartoon characters are actors behind a microphone. It was just like a thing. That was what he did during the day, and I didn't ask much, but they needed writing done for a show. I don't remember if AKB 0048 was the first one, but there were a few shows where where the songs were being sung in English, so they needed lyrics. They didn't have any, and Chris was like, yo, you do a lot of writing. Could you look at this? And I started doing writing for just those lyrics. I was like, oh, wow. So, there's a process that subs turn into dubs, isn't there? And he's like, Yes, I'm glad after 20 something years of watching anime, you realize that yes, work goes into making it English. And at that point, I did a Wallace session once for a show called Shining Hearts. That was awesome. And then once I moved to Texas, I just was like, yeah, I mean, if it's available, I'd love to try out some stuff. And it was around the same time that Kyle Jones hired me for Log Horizon that I did Tamako Market, and it just didn't stop, and I still haven't stopped working, and yay, I'm very grateful for that, because I found out, even though I kind of felt like life sort of dragged me kicking and screaming into doing anime, because I never really appreciated, like, this is a big deal, like, this is an industry, this is a job. It ended up being my favorite thing in the world to do, so it was almost a mistake that I became a voice actor. I never, some people I know, they've been priming themselves to do voiceover for anime since they were like 12 or 13. And so I can never understate how supremely lucky I am to have found that alternative for theater. But I'm never going to, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to earn that gift, because it really was the luckiest thing in the world that I found something that I love so much. But while I was doing all that, I was still going to law school, and somehow I passed all the classes, and then somehow I passed the bar exam, and then somehow I've been working in law for years too. So I guess with my career, I don't know how any of it happened. I still sometimes think it's a fluke, and maybe somebody like didn't check maybe I failed the bar by mistake, and they didn't know, or maybe I'm not licensed and nobody knows, or maybe I'm like a scam actor and nobody will find out yet. But it's I constantly feel so lucky to be allowed to do my jobs, and I still haven't, even though it's been like 10 years, I still haven't really gotten over the shock of the first time someone said yes in both of them.
You mentioned law school, bar exam, which is time consuming as hell. And then you mentioned also law area. What is the magic trick for balancing between both of them?
Well, the magic is when you're self-employed, every day can be an OSHA violation.
Wow,
I don't have advice yet. I am tired. I am always tired. I am tired. I am stressed out. The moment this interview ends, I'm going to stop styling. I'm in my pajamas. I don't even care at this point. Like, I'm tired. My hair's greasy. I don't have makeup on. I'm tired and I'm stressed and I want to go crying to my cat most days. But I've got rules. So, one, if I get like an audition, I force myself to do it. If I have to do it at midnight when the work is over, I'm going to do it. But I'm never going to do it if I have trial the next day. So sometimes I have to learn, gee, this is a really cool project, but I would either have to audition during a week that I have dispositive hearings where if I am not at my best, it will affect the client. And two, I will not, if it's going to be recording during a trial, I try to avoid that project as well, because the client comes first in that case, because it's people's lives. It's criminal law. They deserve me at my best and my focused. So I think balancing any type of entertainment career with a 9-to-5 that has an effect on other people's lives, you have to teach yourself, and you have to get comfortable with being okay with letting opportunities slip by. So I've had to do that. And then as far as like sleeping and stuff goes, if it's just an office day the next day, I will go balls to the wall all night in auditions. I had to take a risk and tell future employers, hey, I've got this side gig that means the world to me. Like, really, I consider myself an actor who practices law, not an acting lawyer. So if you're going to make fun of me for this, or you're going to be embarrassed that I work for you, or you're going to say, no, you can't do this even though we have nothing in the office to do today, we're not going to get along too well. And I'm not going to lie, I was prepared for more pushback than I actually got. At least in Texas, the legal community is one of the most supportive, fun, and empathetic groups of people that I've ever met. At least the criminal defense attorneys. That's who we hang out. That's kind of, we have our own bar and stuff. So the Dallas, Texas all over criminal defense attorneys, they are just really cool people. So even though I had to psych myself up to be like, I need to protect my place in this industry, no, they're just awesome. Like, I'll run out of the office for an hour to record and come back, and they'll be like, have fun being cartoons. So,
and I have to add, I always share that I'm one of those 90s kids that underestimate so much the art, especially the acting art. And now that I'm in the big league world, the real life world, I realize the value of art or acting. For example, I'm in the engineering world, and I've seen great projects that they're great, but they're not able to be accepted because the person doesn't know how to deliver the message. At the same time, I've seen people who sell a project because they know all the acting, how to deliver, and at the end, I'm like, this guy just sell trash. He did it. So
my theater classes probably prepared me for trial better than law school did, because as it's both funny and a damning condemnation. But if you can find a better system, let me know. The American trial, an American criminal trial, is just theater with consequences. So it is. It's not a matter of. It's kind of what you said. It's not about It's not about lying. It is against our code to lie in court. If you say a misrepresentation in court and they find out, you will be disbarred. But the problem is that even if all the facts and the laws in the world are on our side, if you cannot communicate them to a jury in a way that makes them see this series of events through your client's eyes, you've lost. It's about captivating, educating, and persuading a jury. And without a little bit of theater, without a little flair or communication style or speaking skills, even someone with all of the justice and evidence on their side isn't going to make that connection. And making that connection is necessary.
And I remember I have a minor in criminal justice system, and I have a few professor that they said multiple times, hey guys, you want to do something useful, start getting those rapid credits, get acting. And I was like, wait, what? Like, you guys need to get acting. If you guys not able to deliver a message, with good acting you can win a trial easy. You're just going to be a robot, your client's going to jail easy. So moving on, going back to the anime world, one of the main characters, which I need to, again, I haven't seen this one either, talking about Handyman Salty in another world, where you have the character of Lafanpan.
Yes, that is another isekai, but that is one of the funniest ideas of an isekai I've ever come into. So Lafanpan is a little fairy. And so the kind of the fantasy party, you've got your little fairy, you've got your knight in shining armor, and you have a wizard. I believe his name is Morlock, and he might possibly be the greatest character to ever be put in an anime of all time. Fight me. But so they're in a fantasy world. Think like Game of Thrones, medieval type. The guy who gets isekai'd, Saitou, he's like the local worker at Home Depot. He is a legitimate handyman. And he can do handyman things. He is Mike at Lowe's who can help you open that lock that you lost the key for. So he's in this fantasy world, and every episode he does something that is normal at Lowe's or Home Depot, but blows the minds of everyone in this medieval fantasy world. Like, they're like, the treasure chest can't open. What will we do? And he'll be like, well, at Lowe's, if you've got a little key like this, we call it a utility knife. And he's bringing all this like stuff that would be in his utility belt. And they're like, oh, what is this magical contraption? And he's like, I called it a screwdriver. It is hilarious. And it's just episodes of I call it a screwdriver.
And talking about something appealing up to our childhood, we have another character in our history called we have character Emily Tobihoshi in the Red Ranger becomes an Avenger in another world.
Yes.
We talk about the Red Ranger like the Power Rangers.
Yes. This show hits so many boxes for 8-year-old Krystal. I cannot even begin to describe it. So this is an isekai, which is basically one member of Power Rangers gets isekai'd to a fantasy world. And they're like, he's trying to use his Super Sentai power of friendship, utility belt superhero-ness against dragons and monsters and your average like anime type villains. And it is delightful. What I am is I'm the Yellow Ranger in the what they're called. They're not called the Power Rangers, they're called the Kizuna 5. I am the Yellow Ranger in that one, and it is they just every episode or two, so I don't think it's every one, they have a flashback to how his life was when he was just a member of the Kizuna 5. And it is such a Super Sentai love letter where like we'll get in our little animal robots and turn into a giant mecha. We speak in unison. We fight those rubber monsters of the 1980s looking monsters. And it really is, everyone says it reminds them of Power Rangers because it's got the word Ranger in it. But there are so many Sentai shows that it really is an homage to. And I always love it when you can tell just by the writing, by the animation itself, that this show is a love letter to something that the creator obviously was very influenced by or enjoyed as they were climbing up the ranks, and now they have the opportunity to sort of give back to it. So that is always amazing. And as a little kid that probably watched the Ivan Ooze movie 50 times, I was just happy as a clam to be involved.
From all the characters that you have dubbed so far in your career, which one was that character that I call the point of inflection point, that after dubbing that character, it changed your point of approach all the rest of the character to be anime dubbed?
It's funny because whenever people say like, who's your favorite character? What was your favorite show to record? It's always the same answer. And it is Marie in Suppose a Kid from the Last Dungeon Boonies moved into a starter town, which is the longest title ever. That show, that character is just ham. All she does is ham it up. She is comedic relief. She is there to be a absolute garbage fire mess of a human being who cannot get it together. So in terms of the fun I had, of course that's fun. The reason that it's my favorite character is twofold. That show was airing while my partner was in the hospital, so every single time I recorded, my only goal was, he's gonna watch this in a week. I'm gonna try to make him laugh. So, like I kind of said with Red Ranger, this performance was sort of a recorded love letter to him because I just wanted to make him laugh. And he did, and that made me very happy. And if anyone else ever laughs at that show, know that getting that laugh is what I wanted more than anything in the world. So thank you for laughing. But also, she changed the way that I approach characters because I was so focused on being funny that I forgot to be anime. There is a marketable voice, I think, in anime. There is a sort of voice print that makes a person main character material. And with a lot of things, that voice print is going to be feminine, high-pitched, maybe not a lot of vocal fry, but just enough to be like, kind of like, you know, I'm girly, I am feminine, I am someone that men want to be with and women want to be. And that it is very, it is a strong draw to get comfortable with that and to sit right there and be like, okay, I need to have an attractive voice because that is what will make me marketable, and that will be what makes me the main character of another show. And there's also a lot of tropes in anime, and there are a lot of animes. So when a person is shocked, there's kind of that reaction, like that what? That we all or like that loud yell that we all kind of fall back to. There's sort of like the anime safe version of every read possible at this point, just because there's a lot of anime and we all have our own idea in our mind of what makes a character sound like the love interest or the main character. With Marie, I did the opposite of that. When she was shocked, instead of being like, what? I went, what? And I was not afraid to have really deep voices. When I was angry, I did not sound delicate and rightfully indignant about this. I did a Randy Savage impersonation and snapped into a Slim Jim. I did not try to be attractive or feminine in that show at all. I literally was just like, I'm going to sound angry and it ain't going to sound pretty, but I'm going to do it. And so I was able to have reads and reactions that I have never done before in anime. And it made me realize, you know, I liked this show. I had fun recording. And people say they like this show. I made the director laugh. I'm going to stop thinking about what sounds pretty. And instead, I'm going to think about what is the most effective read for this situation. And it might lead someone to be like, you know, Krystal LaPorte's got kind of a weird or ugly voice, but if it works, it works. And I can deal with that. If it gets me hired, if I get hired again, obviously I didn't screw up too much about being worried about, well, do I sound good in this? The director will tell me if I sound good. So I guess what I would say is it got me out of my head for almost everything that I recorded since then.
Thanks for that. Before we wrap it up, I like to talk about the Wild Card series. This time, you're not in the series, but one of your favorite series. Talking about
Gankutsuou.
also known as the Count of Monte Cristo.
Count of Monte Cristo. It wasn't originally going to be, I believe it was originally started as a different novel. It was going to be adapted over a different novel. Something happened with licensing, and they were like, well, Count of Monte Cristo it is. But the result of that was one of my favorite animes in the entire world. The music, the art, the characters, it is one of my favorite. And the Count of Monte Cristo is always one of my favorite stories. I'm a pacifist. I don't like violence. So, one, it's cathartic to have a full-on revenge story. But two, his revenge was really, even though there's a few fight scenes, it was done with his mind. And that to me is just so self-indulgent, and like just to be like, yeah, go Edmond Dantes. So I always love the story, and then to put that art style with it, I don't see that art style very often. The way that Gankutsuou is animated is the line art is not stationary, but the background art is. So it looks like you are watching, it looks like you're kind of having a trip while staring at a stained glass window. And you're seeing the stained glass move. It is absolutely a visual treat. The music, the opening theme, I think is phenomenal. And right now, I'm taking French classes because I miss being a student so much. I love to learn. So 2 years ago at like 3 a.m, I drunk bought French classes. But by golly, I stick to my decisions. And I actually just passed my first fluency DELF exam. But I'm sticking with it, and I'm rewatching everything I love in French. And one of those is The Count of Monte Cristo, and it sounds beautiful.
And it's for me one of those anime of my childhood that really stay with me. Again, the animation is really weird, like you mentioned, but the story. It was the anime that made me read the Count of Monte Cristo. I didn't know about it, and after the anime, you need to read it now. And damn, it is one of those core anime that it should be never forget it. So, Crystal, thank you so much for today.
Thank you for having me.
Any words of advice for future voice actor or for the fans?
Okay. I'm trying to think. I might need to do like one for each one, or I'm trying to think if I can come up with something really profound that will like work, and I could be like, this is true in law, love, life, and theater. But really, I would say, like I said earlier, whether you are a law student or an actor, and I don't use the word aspiring actor, because if you are if you want to act, do it. If that means that you're in community theater, if that means that you're in school theater, if that means that you are on Discord with friends going over scenes, you are acting. And that makes you an actor. And the only difference between a professional actor and an actor, it is not talent. It is the fact that I have received a paycheck for acting before. That is the only divide there is. So I guess remember that, because if you are an actor, you are an actor. And never, if you go to someone for advice and they make you feel small, you need to go to someone else for advice, because nobody should be making you feel small, because you are one of our peers already. And same thing with law. It's the word profession. It means the thing that we profess to do with our lives. And the money doesn't always come. Like, I'm a lawyer. I am broke as a joke, and I'm proud of it because I like the work I do, and it's for people that can't afford lawyers, and that is fine. I just need to make enough so my cat can be kept in his fine clothing. But a profession is what we profess to do with our lives. So if you have professed to do something with your life, that is what you are. And don't let anyone tell you that you are not that. So if you go to someone, they might have advice to be able to do it more often, or to be able to make more money with it, or to improve your craft. But if somebody tells you you are not this, don't listen to them, because only you can decide what you are and what you aren't. Ironically, I got more flack for being a lawyer from other actors than I did being an actor from other lawyers, because there is a lot of, the lawyer is like the ultimate representation of the man, and if you are the man, you cannot be an artist. That's not true. Art needs everyone. I don't care if you're a lawyer, an engineer, a microbiologist, or you work at Lowe's or Home Depot, or a bartender. If you love to create, the creative world needs your stories. And so I guess just do it.
Thank you so much. For those who haven't followed you yet, which social media can they follow you?
So lately I've not been on social media. Kind of been trying to avoid. But I'm on Blue Sky. Let me see what my Blue Sky is, because I knew I did like the thing where you can get the custom thing.
Don't worry.
And I think it's CrystalLaPorte.com. I want to say it is CrystalLaPorte.com. Yes, it's my name.com at Blue Sky. I don't use Twitter as much, but I'll like do role announcements on it. That is Wow Such Crystal. I'll change it soon. It's been the same for 13 years. And then I'm trying to think. I've got Instagram. If you look up my name on everything, I've got something. Just how often I update it. I update Instagram the least. I update Twitter somewhat occasionally, but I kind of hang out on Blue Sky a lot, so you'll find a way to find me.
And like always, guys, just go down to the description of this video, and right over there we'll find Krystal link to her social media. And guys, made over there, we humbly ask you for you to subscribe, like, and share in this video on YouTube, and you can find us in all social media as El Koki Otaku. Así que that's Spanglish. Oh my god. So Krystal, thank you so much.
Thank you, and y'all really should follow them. I don't know if I'm pointing the right way in the final video, but I'm gonna throw you under the bus and just say this has truly been a delightful interview process. So follow them for more interviews, and if you get asked to do an interview, say yes. It was
please guys,
a plus experience. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Sayonara.